Aisha. So if you want to judge about this tradition, you must consider that this being relative may be affected in the content of this tradition. The third type of traditions is from a man who called Hisham bin Urwa. This man was one of the companions of Holy Prophet. So, do we trust on the traditions of this man? It's better to refer to the history. Who was this man? Hisham bin Urwa was in Medina about 70 years old. Then he migrated from Medina to Kufa. When he entered Kufa, the Kufi and Iraqi narrators narrated lots of narration about the Holy Prophet life and the life of al-Mu'minin Aisha from this man Hisham bin Urwa. But there is a point. When you refer to the books of Rijal, there are some books which called Rijal. It means that you distinguish and you study in this book the biography of some narrators. You know them better. You know them. We can trust on the authenticity of their tradition or not? When you refer to this kind of book, I mean Rijal books, you see that when he was in Kufa, he was about 70 years old and more. And lots of authors of Rijal books said, we can't trust on authenticity of the traditions of Hisham bin Urwa because he was so old. And it is narrated in history that when he was old, his memory became very weak. So how we can trust on such traditions which narrated by a man who this memory and the memory of him was a little weak. So these are the three kinds of traditions about the old of and age of al-Mu'minin Aisha. If we want to criticize the three kinds, we can say that according to Sunni scholars' book, these are all true, unless we have some contradictions and conflict in other traditions. But right now until here, we don't have any conflict and contradictions among these three types. But according to Shia scholars' view, we don't accept even these three types, because as I said, the first kind was from Aisha herself. And as you know, Shia scholars said when we have some hesitations about the traditions of al-Mu'minin Aisha, we can't accept that. And the second time was one of the relatives and close relative of al-Mu'minin Aisha, and the narrator, that woman was very young child, she was about 6 years old. So how we can trust on such traditions which narrated by a 6-year-old girl? So, and the third type of traditions which narrated by Hisham bin Urwa and Iraqi narrators, because Hisham bin Urwa, according to Rijali books, was an old man and had a weak memory on his last days of life, so we can't trust even on the traditions of him. So these were the three kinds of traditions about the age of al-Mu'minin Aisha. Inshallah, in next session, we discuss about the narrations in Sunni scholars' books which are in contradiction and in conflict even with these three kinds of tradition. Inshallah, you will be in salama and afia, and I hope you all be happy in your daily life.